All right, everybody. Happy Thursday. Joey here again. I'm going to get the camera right, and hopefully sound is working. Oh, okay. I got some special guests today. You are on camera now, so 50 people can see you. But it grows. Like, our YouTube following is interesting. You create... I'm already on tangents. You create a trade show booth for, your company, and even though you have 300 people come by for a free koosh ball or a t-shirt, you really only have 3 targets that you want to come by because they're the ones that change your destiny. So that's what this YouTube kind of thing is. It's like, yeah, we get people, but there's like a handful of folks that just really kind of change our destinies. All right, so we have Ms.Gekko, and Ms. Grebflow.
It says you. Sorry about that. Yes, Grebflow.
Yeah, Grebflow Black.
Yeah.
I keep on going backwards and forwards. And they are a new company that you've joined forces to create a new company. Tell us who you are and what you do, what you've built. I'm very curious. Ms.Gekko, who are you? What do you do?
Who is Ms.Gekko? That's a good question. In real life, we say, our alter egos. I am Mandy in real life, and I'm a CPA by trade. So I've been in the accounting industry for about 20 years. So that's my day job. So what do they say? It's the 9 to 5 and then the 5 to 9. So the 5 to 9 is in Web3. We got started with a company called Vivi, and that was where we collected our first NFTs, our digital collectibles. We moved into OpenSea, then started collecting on Tezos. We opened an art gallery, and here we are today. G3 Connects, connecting people in Web3.
So G3 Connects is your superpowers company that you two have created. Miss Grebflow, who are you?
Hi.
Hello.
Thanks for having us on. I'm Grebflow online. I am Jennifer in real life. And so my 9 to 5 is I'm an attorney by trade. I work for a federal judge here in Los Angeles. And the 5 to 9. So I guess we'll go back and I'll tell you how Mandy and I first met. And Vivi is what brought us together. And we both actually found Vivi around the same time. My story was that my brother and I were investing in cryptocurrency. We found the currency, the token that Vivi works with, which is called the OMI token. And he found this token first, OMI. Mm-hmm. And he came to me and he says, look at this project. And we had just gotten turned on by another project that was talking about owning things and fractionalized interests and being able to do that. So that was a kind of a sexy thought. And when he came to me with this OMI token, he says, they have an app and they have all of this IP and they're going to be working with DC and Marvel, hopefully. Like, this is before we knew exactly what was coming out, what brands were to come out. But if this does well, then this will do well. And so I ran into my teenager's bedroom and shoved the app in his face and said, don't you think this is cool? And because he's a teenager, by law, he's required to shrug and kind of make a grunt. So he did, and I said, let me rephrase this. Don't you think other people will think this is cool? And he said, oh yeah, they'll buy it up. So this was an ask. Okay, what is it? So Mandy and I, on our own, before we knew each other, we were very DYOR, right? Do your own research. Who's the team behind Vivi? What is this company? So we can talk forever about it. So I'll try to truncate it down a bit. We looked at who the CEO and the COO were, where they come from, what their backgrounds were, who they're working with, and why this company, why are they getting this IP? Because that's something, as a CPA and a lawyer, the two of us saw value in.
Yep.
Exactly.
Not just a pixelated turtle on a skateboard.
Right.
It's real Batman. It's actually a Batman that was created by Todd McFarlane, and now someone has it on their desk behind them that they display. Now they can have it in their phone on an app. They can leave the house with it. They can drop it in AR. They can take pictures with the Batman.
Yep.
So we really just saw this is going to be hype, and it is, and it was. And I think the intersection between this technology coming at the same time as all of us being trapped at home during COVID created one of the best communities that I've seen in the NFT space or in the premium digital collectible space, where we've all come together online and we've made friends from around the world in this way. And it's been a very positive, fun experience. Everyone got really excited. There's a marketplace on VV app where you can sell and buy. And in the summertime, so this is like March of 2021. And by the summertime, we realized that just like any other industry, especially in tech, it can be really intimidating for women to step into. And Mandy and I were some of the founding women of the Women of Vivi. We decided to have a group where it was inclusive of both men and women, but it was specifically founded to welcome women into the space, have a safe place to land, ask questions, be comfortable and confident. And we started doing some live stream videos and interviewing people on the Vivi team, and also showing the community who sometimes some explanations with roadmaps in tech kind of get pushed out a little bit. Some things happen or something comes up and it gets delayed. So it was a really nice way to show the humanity, but behind the scenes of here's the team and here's the community, and let's put that together so that there's a name to the face and you see it as a human being who's working for you. And, it became really, really lovely in that fashion. So we started doing that, and we created groups online on the side with women. And then Mandy and I kind of got introduced to a couple artists, and we loved each other immediately. Mandy and I fell in love with each other from the Women of Vivi. We started chatting off to the side. We are on different sides of the continent, and we became fast friends. Our kids know each other. I see her spouse who has to put up with me all the time on the FaceTime. And one of the interviews that we had was with Jeremy Padower, and he currently holds the global license to Pokemon.
Oh.
He owns a toy company, one of the top, I think, 3 in the world. He's the WWE guy. Yeah. So that was a pretty fun get to be able to interview him. And he spent a lot of time with us after the interview, and was impressed by us and our enthusiasm, and just consult. He consulted us and urged us to peek out of Vivi and see what else is out there. And he couldn't wait to see what we're going to create. So that was September of last year, of 2021. And we didn't know what that was going to look like, but we knew it was super good advice.
Yeah.
Right. And
right?
Joey, and just to let you know, in the Vivi fam, we call Jeremy Uncle Jeremy. So he's very familiar, is very open, responsive to the Vivi fam and his own fan base. Incredible human being.
He's so dirty little secret. I'm going to out myself. Growing up, I grew up in partly in Texas, and wrestling was everything. So as I turn into an old man slowly and not very gracefully, kind of like a melting candle I seem to be, wrestling has kind of come back as my comfort food. And Padower is God mode in this huge market of toys. And I had no idea that you had Uncle
Jeremy.
That's amazing. Another
little
hair on my
fact. I later found out, because when we started interviewing him, and I'm older than Uncle Jeremy, so I had told him, I'm not going to call you Uncle Jeremy. I don't know if you're okay with, maybe like you're more like a cousin, but I did. It was a VV team member who threw it out there and named him Uncle Jeremy once by just offhanded comment. He came into the Twitter Spaces. He's like, "Oh, look, Uncle Jeremy's here," and let me tell you, it stuck. And he's a real great sport. He lives here in LA. He's a very authentic, genuine, good human being. I have to echo that. So he planted that seed for us, and we didn't know what that was going to look like.
Yep.
And then soon thereafter, we met an artist who does abstract art, and she was introduced to us through Frank Kozik, who is one of the artists on Vivi. And we fell in love with her art. And we're going to meet her next in a couple of weeks when Mandy comes down here to Los Angeles. And so that was on OpenSea. So then we started finding art on OpenSea, which is the wild, wild west. And
Yes.
you do end up paying your tuition because of all the scams and the bad links. And if you know what you're doing, there's a high, hefty price to pay in the beginning in education. So I did that. I got indoctrinated really early on. And then I went to DCon for my first con ever and met an incredible artist who's made tech for artists that will turn NFTs, will activate them. You put your phone over it. It's called the iJack. And he's got this book and he's selling this book, and you can look at the pictures and you put the iJack app over it and it activates, and there's music and all this great, cool stuff.
Wow.
And I see this .tez next to all the art. Well, what's that?
Yeah.
I don't know that you can get, there's another blockchain. Meanwhile, like I was invested in the actual cryptocurrency of Tezos, but I didn't know that you could mint art on different blockchains at this point.
Right.
And so then we were invited to be in a Tezos group, and together we started in November just collecting great art. And the Tezos blockchain is known, what do they say? It's like the underground.
The underground.
Yeah. Underground. So it's the nitty gritty. It's where the real artists go.
Yeah.
And I still, in the last year, have never heard of anybody being scammed out of things. There's been like little bits of things, but nobody's sucking everything out of your wallet. I haven't heard of those. In any event, we collected, and by December we had founded the Grebflow Gallery and started making these galleries. And I'm hearing my voice a lot. So Mandy, why don't you talk about the galleries that we would make?
No, that was a great introduction. And just to like remind you that when we got into OpenSea, gas was sky high,
Right.
so expensive. So when the transaction failed, it was a gut shot. You were like, no, right? Like, and you were paying more for gas than you were for the pieces of art.
That's
and
right.
that didn't sit well with us.
Mhm.
So
Sometimes you would pay the gas and you weren't guaranteed to even get the piece of art, which I didn't even
Correct.
realize until I minted something. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I got 2. And then other people were like, yeah, I tried to get 2. I paid the gas for 2 and didn't get the art because it sold out before. Yeah, that's a great reminder. That was ridiculous.
And that's part of what Tezos is, and what we're trying to help with the artist is so that the artist can make a living wage from what they're doing. And that's why moving over into Web3 and into the Metaverse, that's a whole other way for them to promote themselves. So that's how we got into the Metaverse. Was we founded Grebflow Gallery in December of last year. We together, I think we have almost 4,000 unique pieces. Some of them duplicates, triplicates. Grebflow is a miniature whale, so she'll probably pick up 10 of something where I'll pick up 2.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, so we do have, a fair number of galleries to build, museums to erect, and, commemorate this digital art renaissance that we're going through right now. So we started using OnCyber. So when we would buy all this beautiful Tezos art, it reminded me of when I was traveling through Europe and going through museums. It was museum style art on my computer, on my phone. It was mind-blowing. Then I found OnCyber. So I started doing the 2D galleries. And in OnCyber, you could share wallets. So for example, I could share with Grebflow, she could share with me. So we could do a collab. Say, for example, we wanted to do a weekly acquisition gallery. What did Grebflow Gallery buy this week? We could both collab in there. We do a little video on TikTok or a desktop, tag the artists that were in it, and help them promote. Because one of the biggest things that we found in the space, and we're on Twitter Spaces, if not every day, every second day. So when we're looking at these spaces, the hardest part for the artist is promoting themselves. So that's what we sought out to do. So from December until, well, now, whenever we purchase something, some people say, oh, true collectors don't, shill what they buy or have to announce what they purchased. But that's part of what we're doing to give back to the community. We want people to go buy the rest of what's in this collection. So we're going to share what we acquired. We're going to share the artist. And it's very likely that we own the majority of this artist collection as well. So when we started to look at the Metaverse at the beginning of the summer, this is where we were trying to take the Tezos artists from regular shilling on a Twitter space or just having, you know, their let's say their profile on Object. That's where the NFT platform for Tezos.
Yep.
We wanted to bring them into OnCyber and show them how to set up galleries. We're just skipping that. We're bringing them right into the metaverse. So they're going to start with that immersive experience and have the ability to promote and advertise, for lack of a better word, in a brand new way, which we've never seen before, and on a global scale.
That's I go to bed some nights and I mistakenly look at Twitter, and then I see one of you two sitting in a space somewhere, and then I wake up maybe too early, and then I see one of you sitting in a space somewhere.
Yes.
Like, do you have like a staff of people with your account that are logging in? Like, I can't believe, between like you and Prism,
Yep.
Songs of Eden, like one of you are in my phone every time I look. It's amazing how active you are.
Yeah, and it's funny because sometimes Grebs and I will have a similar profile. We have a similar name. So people mix us up all the time. We say that we're just one half of the same person. So because we have 4.5 hours in that time difference, she sort of takes the night shift, I take the morning shift. So I'm waking up to, she gives me all the news that I missed. This is what you need to know. So then, you know, on my lunch break or my break from work, I'll go down through and say, this happened, this happened. Oh, guess what? This person had a drama with this other person. Side note, like, because of course, in any community, they're, you know, we're like brothers and sisters.
Yeah, once you're family, there's strife.
That's correct. People have bad days, you know, that sort of thing. But it's all good. And this community is, yes, we came together with Vivi, but we all have a creative streak that Vivi brought out of us. So that's what Vivi did for myself and, you know, Grebflow, is introduced us or reintroduced us to art. We've always loved art. We're, you know, Jen actually collects art in real life, I'll say. You can see behind me, actually, this piece here is a 1-of-1 NFT, and I got a physical piece. You can't really tell what it is, but this is by Tankus and Anubis FX. So I got this in the auction. So I have the 1-of-1 NFT, and they also sent me a signed physical. So I just got that a couple weeks ago. So really excited about that. And a couple of the other pieces up there are physicals that artists have sent us from. The other ones are from Jord Creates in New Zealand. So when I talk about this is a global network, that's why, because there's always somebody to talk to on Spaces.
It is. So in my job, we're in like 10 time zones. So right now, kind of the U.S. is kind of ending their day. And then at about 9 o'clock, I got Pakistan or Dubai coming online. If I stay up late till 2, I can go touch the Portugal guy. Like it's
incredible.
And I'm an old software guy. I'm used to us all being in an office together, and yeah, we got maybe a consultant here or there, but here we're totally distributed and remote, and yet we're getting more done. So it's amazing when you're talking to building a community or hanging out with folks.
Yep.
Like it just doesn't sleep. Like it is the worst heroin I've ever had. That's probably not the right way to say that, but
I much prefer regular heroin.
Yeah.
Like,
but
we're chasing the dragon here, and this dragon is 24/7. Yeah,
it is. And well, you know, the let's go back to the original Wolf of Wall Street, you know, movie. Ms.Gekko is a play on Gordon Gekko.
Right.
I'm Ms.Gekko, and not his wife. Ms. Gekko.
Greed is
but
good.
Right. So when I think about him, you know, he was getting up early. He had to be, you know, on the phone with Japan, like the big old, like, you know, brick phone. I get it now, because you don't want to sleep. You can't miss it. Like literally, you miss a day in Twitter, you have to get recaps from somebody. Right. I remember at the beginning of the summer when we started moving into spatial, people went on summer vacation, came back to Twitter, whole new world. Right. They're like, we're never taking family vacation again. And we're like, no, we'll catch you up. You can have a real life as well.
Can you imagine being gone that 1 week where Vivi and Spatial met?
Collided.
It was an explosion.
It was.
Spatial was like what is this Phoebe thing?
Right.
And it was, your chocolates in my peanut butter. And if you were out that week and you came back, people were like, where are you? Where are you? And they're like, what links are these? Why are these avatars? What is going on? They went from being in AR and VV and waiting for the VV-verse to, we've already jumped into this metaverse here while we're waiting for the VV-verse to come.
My headset, my Oculus headset that's sitting, or Meta headset, whatever it's called now, if I fire it up once a week, I spend a half an hour with updates to all the software packages.
Right.
Like, this thing is moving at such a speed. Even us, we are relying on all these other software packages to build our software. And there is the currency of relevance is staying up to date with with whatever the new thing is. Like I turn into my dad if I aren't online for 2 days. Like
I know, right?
Wow, I can't imagine being a 20-year-old trying to, or maybe this is second nature. They're just
you're like
used to
troglodyte after a few days, right? All of a sudden you're living in the pre-tech world if you miss a few days.
I love it. So all right, so G3 Connect, you two, that's the name of your company. Who is your target audience? Who are you helping, and kind of what is the product that you're putting out there?
Yeah, so that's a really good question, because we dabble in pretty much anything to do with Web3 and the metaverse in general. But if you want to look at two of the most, I guess, frequent types of people we have conversations with, one are artists, exactly like I just said. We were already in the process of helping them build these 2D galleries. I'll say 2D galleries in OnCyber. Now, OnCyber does have its own metaverse as well. Mm-hmm. But we were in the process of already bringing them over into a gallery. Now we bring them into the gallery, show them what it is. Either we set it up for them, or we will give them the tools. Some of them are able to go off and make, ones on their own. But once they get their head around, okay, here's my gallery, what do I do now? Mm-hmm. That's where we come in. It's, you sit down and you have to figure out what is going to drive you and others to spend time in the metaverse. So for one thing I heard you say was, you put on your headset once a week. To be in the metaverse, you don't need to have your headset. I don't use my headset. And honestly, that was one of the biggest pushes for me to get into spatial, was because there was no requirement to have a headset. There's probably only 10% of us at events that are wearing headsets. Right. So for me, I personally don't have one because I have a set of kids that are 8 years old. I don't really think it's fair if I have one, and I don't want them to get, and we won't get into that. But I will get to use one of Grebflow's extras in her house when I go down in a couple of weeks. So I'm looking forward to that.
It is.
But
sorry.
No, that's what I was just going to say. But it's people think that that's what the metaverse is, having to put that on. But as a mother, as a working person, as a spouse, you can be in the metaverse and still be functioning, eating your dinner, dancing 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, So it's
and I have it, and I tell you, I don't use it that often. I'm not completely proficient in it, so because I'm still on my Bambi legs, I am less inclined in my free time after work to put that on, because I can be more efficient on the laptop.
Yeah.
So I'm now I'm forcing myself to put it on so I could be quick. Someone's at an event and I can go grab my headset, which I did last week. And that was a lot of fun. So much fun. It was the first time I actually went into an event, not on my laptop. And I went in and Mandy was right in front of me. Right. And I saw somebody across the room. You could tell who's on a headset and who's not on a headset by how their avatar is moving. Yes. And so I saw two people from across the room saying, okay, let's try to hug each other. And they did. And it was so cute. And I couldn't wait. I can't wait because Mandy's coming down. We keep saying, because we're on countdown now. And Hanukkah happened at our house last year, and the kids both got headsets. And as kind of a pity present, my brother bought me this headset over the summer when I went into spatial, and I got COVID on vacation, and my whole vacation was ruined. Oh, no. And I came home, and there was this Oculus sitting on the pillow on my bed. because he said he did say this, just a little nice little anecdote, because he said that he was going to use the money for a hotel room because he lives with us, because we all are coming home with COVID. But he decided, if I just stayed the hell away from him, this was better use of the money.
You know, I'm fascinated. I've talked to like Jahan. He's not in headset as much. Even I've had conversations with like Jake at Spatial. We've had dinner, and the majority of the users are not. And as a professional nerd, I am waiting for Apple to roll out the headset that replaces these glasses.
Oh, yeah. We're all waiting for the glasses.
Where we have this conversation, and you're here in my place, and it's just
100%.
Yeah, and we don't even know what's coming, but we do know that the CEO of Vivi talks to Apple on a weekly basis. And so I know that they're making sure that their technology works with the Apple wearable. So, I mean, we don't know because there's NDAs and all the reasons why we don't know what we don't know, but that's something that we have been, that's been shared. So we're super excited about Apple. We're definitely the Apple geeks.
What I'm fascinated is like the licensing that the Vivi folks. There was an app called like Quid or something like that.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh yeah, not something like it. Quid.
Yeah.
It was a
Quid.
mental illness I had for a while where I had to collect everything, all the Rick and Mortys, and
that's us.
Oh my god.
That's us. Yeah, but legit. So it's so when I'll just backpedal for a minute. When we were doing our research, I know I came across they're working with this guy named Al Khan. I go, well, who's this guy? And when I cracked that safe open, holy gramoly, you can do your own research, but I'll tell you, you could listen to the man talk all day, the stories that he has, right? So just like an example, he's reading the Wall Street Journal in the early 80s, and there's some weirdo who bought an old broken down hospital in Cleveland, Georgia. Apparently there's a Cleveland in Georgia. And so he said, he's reading this article, and this man has these dolls. They're all different, and he sets them up, he props them up in these hospital rooms, and you can go get a tour of the hospital by a nurse, and you can tour it. And then if you want to adopt one of these dolls, you can pay $500. Now this is the early 80s, so $500 for this creepy hospital visit, right, with these dolls. And he's getting the tour. He says he flew to Cleveland, Georgia to go check it out. I think he flew to like Atlanta and rented a car because I don't know if there's an airport in Cleveland. But he looks in one of the rooms. He says, what's the deal? And the woman says, oh, that's where we think babies come from. And it was a room full of cabbage heads.
Oh, no. Wow.
Yes. And he says himself, it's so much easier to take something from a small area that's popular and blow up that brand that's already created, right? Instead of building your own brand. And so he said, oh, they're Cabbage Patch Kids, and the rest is history. So he's got anecdotes for days. And so how does that connect our CEO? So this same Al Khan was in Japan. He worked for Coleco, and he would be traveling the world looking for different toys. He was in Japan. He saw some kids playing a card game. What's that? That's Pocket Monsters. He says, yeah, I don't like the name. We're rebranding it. It's Pokemon. We're bringing it to the United States. Wow. So our CEO, David Yu, I think unbeknownst to Al, I think David was about 17 years old at the time, wrote a letter, because at that time, that's what you did. And he wrote a letter to Al Khan. And Al was like, he clearly understood the card business and this gaming and the Pokemon and everything. And because of that contact and that reach out that he made to Al, David Yu was able to get the license for Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon to New Zealand and Australia. I think both. And I'm not positive on that, but down to New Zealand. So they have known each other for, a good 25 years or so, and they've had that relationship. So in 2018, of course, when they started knocking on doors, trying to explain what an NFT was to these big companies, right. It was a lot of doors got slammed. There was a lot of laughing and pointing, and but they walked around with Al, and Al made the introductions, and the rest is history. Because now here we are in 2022. There's a backlog of folks trying to get on the app. We don't even know what's coming, but we do know that two giant things were, after 2 years of trying to get the contracts done, have just been completed, and we don't know what that is. My kids are praying for Bakugan, or not Bakugan, but for help me with like anime. They're gonna die when they see this because they've
Dragon
got
Ball Z.
One Piece, Dragon Ball Z, but One Piece. I think One Piece is their, but yeah. So Dragon Ball Z and One Piece and all the other anime that's out there and the manga. Hopefully we'll get, because we do have comics. I see all the comics behind you, so you might want to look at the app and look at the comics.
I don't know. Yeah.
It's interesting. I show my age every time I prefer Scooby-Doo over the anime. Like I'm not there mentally. I'm missing part of my brain. I want to be. I love stories. I love, universes and all that. But I'm playing from behind. So I'm curious about like the G3 Connects. 5 years. God, everyone has a social media person now. My landscaper has somebody who's in charge of doing an Instagram post every day, right? Like, what can you possibly show? But they do. And you are kind of metaverse consultants. You're early, but you're going to be as default member of a company as the social media person is now. So like the metaverse consultant is going to be in every company. My landscaper, I can't even imagine what they're going to do.
My head just started going because I'm an avid gardener. So I'm like, oh, landscaper.
Oh yeah, exactly. I was just thinking that.
Yeah.
Well, what's interesting is the G3 Connects. We started, I don't want to say backwards because we're exactly where we're supposed to be, but we started with a vertical. We didn't know it was just a vertical of G3 Connects at the time, but like our gallery is just a vertical. And then, so when we came up with G3 Connects and we went back and forth and we were brainstorming, that's what we're going to connect all these things. That's going to be the mama board with the gallery, with fashion, with actually meeting with the artists who are onboarding from the physical space. They haven't even come into the NFT space.
Right.
They want to know what blockchain do they mint on? How many do they mint? What's the price point that they should have? Where are we in this climate in the bear market? Where should that land? And there's a host of questions that we have when we meet with them and consult with them. And so if you're trying to nail us down, you're not going to be able to, because if you ask us next week, we're going to add something else. Right. So we're very open. We're open and we go, right? And that's something that Mandy has helped me. I'm a lawyer. I'm type A. I'm very linear. I like lists. And I think someone asked us or challenged us or did something about, well, where's your roadmap? And, we're like Back to the Future, right? Where we're going, you don't need roads. So we just kind of force our way through, and we see a need and go, oh, we can do that. And we can do that. And so that's where we're building. And that's the G3 Connects. And Mandy's done an amazing job at creating this Web3 Pages hub where, and it's how her brain works, and it's brilliant. I have all these notes of, well, we need to call someone for this. We need music DJ services for that. We need someone to create an environment. Well, why not put that all in one place so someone can come into the hub, and I'll let you talk about it. I'm so proud of it. And when you first walk in, what you see, and then what the hub and what the purpose of it is.
Yeah, I don't know if everyone knows, like, you've built this, and because I'm crusty old, a Yellow Pages, a directory, but it's this Mall of the Americas where it's just you can go into the different food court equivalent and find
So we've got meta event planning, we've got art, we've got music, wellness, gaming, education. Plus we have at the middle is the hub, which is the calendar of events, which is basically anything that we know that's going on. We encourage people to reach out to us. So if you are on Twitter, please reach out to us. I'm Ms.Gekko, Ms_Gekko, and Grebflow. You can DM us and we can promote anything that you're doing in the space. That's part of how we want to give back to a space that has taught us so much. We have taught this. We have learned this. It's trial by fire. We have paid our tuition through, monetary loss, asset loss, sleep loss, all kinds of things. But it gives us a very unique perspective. And especially coming from the accounting side and the legal side, that's where we can also build our own contracts. I can also write our own financial statements, prepare them. we're going to eventually, in a couple of years, have a legal and accounting firm in the metaverse.
Right.
Like, this is where we're going.
Right.
So again, when we look at, and I know that you asked about who are we sort of targeting, and I gave you the first set of group, which was the artists that we wanted to be able to show their art in a different way than just flat on a screen. Mm-hmm. We wanted people to be able to experience it. The other group is the Twitter space tech people. So these are the people we talk to every day. These are the crypto people. These are the NFT people. So we say, don't you want somewhere to show your NFTs off? Don't you want somewhere to say, hey, come in and see what I'm doing, 5 hours of the day on the computer? That's how we've gotten a lot of traction, example, from the Vivi fam over into spatial, because it's a natural progression from spaces. Like I said, I say every other day, but I'm on spaces every day. I might as well just say it. So I'm on spaces every day, and I go between spaces and the metaverse. Eventually, it's going to be the same. Mm-hmm. We're going to be talking and seeing each other, whether it's an avatar or like us right now. Mm-hmm. That's going to combine. And I can see it happening right now. It's slowly happening. So it's an incredible space to be in.
I know from experience. It happened this week. Whenever you tag me, I've been a lurker on Twitter for 13 years, 14 years. Like, I don't want to be anybody. I just want to be the dude and likes to build stuff. And I wake up and my Twitter is blown up and I'm like, am I famous now? Am I Twitter famous because I'm associated that I know you? In real life, lawyers and accountants are the two groups that I'm not always partying with. But you are so charming and wonderful and kind and giving. And I just being associated with you at all. I can't
awesome.
Imagine an artist who has something of value to give the world. And
oh
then
my
you
God.
help them out.
Oh, Joey, you have so much value. We talk about you so much that it's probably shameful. It's probably shameful. The minute I went to that presentation and got the swag bag, I didn't stop talking about it.
Does not shut up about the swag bag. And
I have not shut up about the swag bag.
That's hilarious.
It's on our list. It's on our consulting list. What kind of a party do you want? Do you want to throw a bash? What's your budget? Do you want a swag bag? Let's talk to you about that. Honestly, it's
a huge piece.
I'm going to let you talk to some people I work with on the daily who we do our morning stand up at 8 a.m.
Yeah.
I'm a jerk, but for some reason on this little YouTube-y thing, I come off as charming, but in real life, I am I have never been happy with any software that I've been associated. The next version is going to be better. The next, it is the worst. Okay. So I'm revealing too much about myself.
I love it.
But it is a lie. The guys at work, if you look at our Slack, they're like, why the hell does anybody talk to you? You are such a jerk.
But literally, to us, we are avid NFT collectors. There has to be utility.
Yes, ma'am.
The unlockable part that's a must-have. And I was going to go back to what Grebflow said about, because where she's based in LA, she has more of a reach than me on the east coast of Canada, sitting on a little rock in the middle of the ocean.
Amazing.
So when she talks to artists, she has to talk very frankly about mint sizes, prices. This is what's selling. If you want to sell for this amount and at this many mints, maybe this is not the right time for you. So Grebflow she doesn't hold back when it comes to those things. So one of the things that we can recommend is add utility, and that's where the unlockables come in. And again, Grebs has talked to 2 individuals now, artists in person. Again, we do have a 9 to 5. Eventually, this will get more and more, but we're going to be meeting with artists in real life in 3 weeks when I'm down in LA, and we're going to onboard them to the metaverse. Amazing. So it's literally sometimes just one person at a time. You're showing how to do it.
So you mentioned the unlockables. I am curious about what your offering is. So you are collectors. You have, It's funny. It'd be like an Indiana Jones warehouse. There's just this
Yes.
this endless thing.
Right.
Yes.
But right now
Yes.
it's on your hard drive, or it's just in your wallet.
Yep.
The things you were collecting, especially like in metaverses, there are these beautiful environments, the stuff that the exclusible guys have been
Yep.
knocking out, or the Polycount freaking genius architects. And you as kind of consultants, are you talking about like hosting events in these assets that you own, which is just
Yes.
mind blowing to think about?
Yes. Yep. So
we're
I'll
acquiring a new one for a specific event. If we talk to an
Correct.
architect and say, "Hey, this is the vibe. What do you got on the go? Are you working on something now?" Which
Right.
got us into a space that we do have. I didn't want to trample on you. Go ahead about our
No.
environments you're collecting.
No, I was going to say we have a number of incredible environments. Ash, the architect, Utopian Renaissance, we own all 3 environments. So our Tezos Art Gallery is in her Utopian grid. So that's like a neon sort of cosmic, a little bit of 80s, a little bit of 90s vibe in there. We also have her downtown city that has a subway that runs under the city, and you can get on the subway and get off the subway. So yeah, it's wild.
It's pretty
So
sick.
that is our G3 Artist Collective. So we actually have 8 resident artists who we own either all of their collection or a majority of their collection. So we already had solo galleries for them on Cyber, but we've invited them to join the art collective with us. So that space, that city space, is going to be for them to use for NFT drops, for parties, to show their clientele, their future, collectors, here's my work. You can come in and have a look at it. Yeah.
Oh.
So that's part of what we do. And one of the things that, like I said to you, Joey, I'm really excited about is we have so many environments that we want to be able to rent them. We also have so many incredible pieces of art that maybe you don't want to spend, $100 on or, more for a particular party that you're throwing, but you want to rent that piece of art to show at your party for that night. So there's going to be a lot of other things that come along with that. Throw one out: costume rentals, 3D wearables. There's a Halloween party tomorrow. There's another one on Saturday. So number one, I want designer things to be happening, but I also want to have a line of affordable things where people can rent for $5.99, $9.99.
Right.
And that's our income stream. So again, the income streams, people are like, "Oh, but how are you making money? How are you making money?" When the masses come, we're going to be ready. We're building now. We're not going to start when they're here. We're just going to turn the key and open the door.
And I think what distinguishes us from other folks who are starting is it's not desperation, but it is, it's a luxury that we both have, both having a full-time job. We have careers that pay the bills. So we're not taking that chance. And I think because we aren't risking really much. I mean, we are investing, and we're putting money into this, but we're doing so at a pace that's sustainable for us.
Yeah.
And it's most of our time that is spent instead of the money. So because we are in that position during a bear market, like what a beautiful time to be in the bear market and to be building, so that when things pick up, we've now accumulated and collected all of these amazing deals, really, because everyone's working together. And I think that's why we're not everything just has to be a money grab. It's about relationships.
Correct.
It's forging relationships with business people. I'm a lawyer. I've never had more access to devs, or to any access to devs, to people in tech, to, maybe I should have done something different with my career. Well, maybe, but now I actually have access to folks who are willing to help, who can help, who want to share ideas. And it's not about stealing and trampling over each other to get. There's just a different vibe in this space, especially from the competitive worlds that we each come from, especially being women in those competitive worlds where we're fighting even harder to stay on even keel with men. So I think that, and we hear the whispers of women in Web3, let's onboard more women. And this is going to be a space where women shine because of how we operate and how we move through the space, because it's about connections. And we're pretty good at that. Just as a gender, right? We're pretty known for making those connections and putting people together. So I do think that distinguishes us from others, that it's not just that, how are you making money? Well, we're working on it to get everything in place, right. Set up that somewhat passive income. We're still going to be working and working and working, but to have those income streams turned on. So the spigots aren't turned on yet. They're all being put in the queue.
That's right.
And, yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
The rental, like I'm like a chubby heterosexual white guy. I'm a fat heterosexual white guy. So I'm like in a bucket, right? But I don't care who I work with. I just want to work with smart people. That is where it's very. That's where I'm.
As it should be.
Yeah.
As it should be.
Yeah.
Right.
As it should be.
Yeah, I can't imagine women in tech. I wish I could. I can't. I'm just my fat ass. But I am here for. I want to work with smart people. I want to work with people who are maybe a little dangerous in that they're kind of unafraid and they're going to take this on. Like for us to forge ahead, we got to be a little brave together. 20 seconds of bravery and you can get past anything.
Agreed.
So the rental thing, the thing that we are missing, I feel, in a lot of the Web3 land is maybe supporting the middleman. A middle layer. Right now,
yes.
You're either the platform or you are the individual artist, and yet you need this whole structure and ecosystem to promote the artist and tie it to the platform, and that part's missing. So the middleman has no way to make money right now. And we think what we're doing in Darkblock land, there's interesting things going on.
Amazing.
Maybe I delete this part of the interview.
Share what you can.
There's this idea.
It's just us.
Yeah,
it's just us here, right?
You can rent NFTs, rent the entire NFT. So let's say I can go get a Bored Ape, and it's available for $100 tonight. And by having access to that, maybe I can get into a real world party. And what we're seeing is that folks aren't letting you into the party if you rent it. And that's we're experiencing that in real life right now.
Interesting.
Because the NFT, the utility the access that the NFT brings,
social utility.
Yep.
And our focus in Darkblock land is on the content. It is you're an artist that does this amazing painting, but I want access to the behind the scenes, how I created it, what's the backstory. Here is a wallpaper version of the piece that you can put on your desktop since you own it, right? All this ancillary extra content that makes the backstory that supports the piece of art. And right now your NFT doesn't have that without kind of unlockable content. Like
correct.
There's nothing you can attach to the NFT. There's this, so the idea of renting that content, we feel like that is the mechanism, the economic mechanism for the middle person. So the marketplace wants a cut. There's the whole royalty disaster going on. The creator wants to control their art piece. Like if I create an art piece, I don't want a owner to be able to make money on top of it, like by renting it out. As a creator, I can control the rules of my piece of art. And then the owner of the NFT, right now it's either in your wallet or not, and the only revenue you can make from it is when you flip it. And the whole structure from the marketplace to the creator to the owner is about how many times this monkey can get flipped, and that's how we get paid. Are you freaking serious right now? So what we're working on is the marketplace giving the tools, the capability of dark blocks to be created with the NFT. The creator themselves setting the rules. I want 2% of rental every time this piece of art gets, this film, this comic book, this whatever content gets consumed, I want to cut. And the creator controls that. And then the owner, I am collecting all of, John Byrne is an artist who, amazing artist that I love to death. Every time I collect a John Byrne work and there's a cartoon that comes with the piece, or there's a PDF, or there's a movie, anytime a third party rents out that they want to watch the cartoon, I get a cut as an owner. The creator gets a cut, of course, and then the marketplace gets a cut because they have added this capability to their offering. So that's what we're working on.
Oh, it's beyond exciting. Like, I can't even handle it. Like, you know that GIF on Twitter where it's like Jonah Hill going,
Yeah.
that's my favorite one. That's what I was doing internally just then.
It is a hard challenge. We're working on it. You know, you talk about roadmaps. I've got our product guy. He probably wants to punch me in the face probably twice a day because we're like
all over you're all over the place.
All over the place. But like it has to work. Like we can't 100%. Talk vaporware. And if a marketplace supports what we're doing at Darkblock by enabling this capability for their customers, like we can't violate their trust by having a crappy product, and we can't violate the creator's trust in using the Darkblock. And then the owner finally gets paid, which they have not, other than flipping or holding on to it. You put it under this NFT's under the bed, and my kids will open it up and be able to sell it, and hopefully it's of value. But I consume content on the daily, and I have money, and I want to consume more content. I want to support artists.
Exactly.
Yeah, I want to be a Medici. Not all the way, but a little bit.
Oh yeah, definitely. And that's, do you know what? Someone was talking about that movement. I don't know, it was today or yesterday, and that was only like 200 or 300 people that started that movement, by the way. So we're there.
It's early days. Half the people think that, I can't even imagine as proper professionals, as lawyers and accountants, whenever you bring up the word NFT, like they're like, what are you doing? Like,
they don't even know. Like I said, okay, do you guys know the metaverse? Like blank. These are people, brilliant people. It's just they're not into it. And this brings me back to what I always like to, sort of close out with when I talk on a space, or whether it's a formal chat, or even if we're just chatting with our VV friends or new friends we bring into the space. Challenge yourself to figure out what your role is in Web3. Don't wait for things to happen. Say, oh, I could do that. Do it now. What do you do in real life? Like, yes, I could open up a meta accounting firm tomorrow, or I could do taxes for days with crypto transactions. I don't want to do either of those things at this point. Yeah. I know eventually I'm going to have to do it. I'll do it for our business right now, but I want to do the creative. I want to do the building. I want my vision to start coming into fruition, and it's coming. I mean, like Grebs mentioned just very quickly, that we have a fashion house, which is called House of G3. So we do have a fashion designer that we are partnered up with who makes 3D wearables. So how that will happen is we'll do a collab with her. Then we'll get a portion of the sales on that collab. So that's where I talked to her about, okay, renting costumes, doing the t-shirts for the swag bags, right, all that sort of stuff. But the next step for us is Ready Player Me, like getting into that world. And I know, speaking to a number of people, that's a little bit tough, but we are determined and we'll do whatever it takes to get there. But once we have the ability, just think about that. For you, think about the Darkblock t-shirt that we got in that swag bag.
Yes, ma'am.
When it's a wearable. Like that in and of itself is incentive enough to go to an event. So it's going to be another driver to get people to go to these things. So I think that, again, I'm going to go back to when you said putting on that VR set. We need to help educate people that that's not what it's all about. You don't have to be completely alienated from people around you. There's a lot of times that we're on spaces and in the metaverse at the same time. So it's, you can do multiple things. It's not just the Oculus and you look silly, like no one knows what you're up to. Right. There is another side of this, and this is a side I see mainstream until we get the glasses, like you said.
All right, we can go forever because I love talking to you. You guys are so amazing. What great human being. That's my favorite part of this job. Like, I meet just people that I would not have bumped into at Walmart. Like
It's true.
amazing human beings, brave, figuring out new stuff, not afraid of, that NFTs kind of have this monkey stink on them. Like, we want, we see the future. Like, we see it. It makes sense. There's probably going to be horrible things done with this amazing technology, but there are so many wonderful things
that we can't even imagine yet, right? We can't
Right.
even imagine the horrors. But, in my world, what's so exciting and sexy is someone just asked me this morning, oh, hey, do you know a good notary nearby? And like, what an antiquated practice. And
Right.
with blockchain technology, like, don't worry about the NFT. You can have an NFT as your deed of trust or certificate of
got
title.
it.
You're not going to need a notary. You're not going to need to prove the chain of title with the county recorder's office if you've got the blockchain proof of ownership, right?
Yes.
Those things are all coming. There's companies now that are working on that. And I think of that all the time, of how can I mainstream that? How can I get that to go faster? Because maybe that's not 5 years out. Maybe that's 10 years out, because it's going to take a lot of convincing to get those things in place. But that's something that's really very tantalizing and very exciting, because the paperwork that I go through trying to figure out chain of title, I'm a bankruptcy attorney. So, challenges to who owns title to something, quiet title actions happen
Right.
all the time in my court. So it would reduce, it would save judicial resources. It would save maybe on some litigation. There'll always be litigation, but maybe it would save things a little,
You got all deep. I thought we were talking about Ninja Turtle pictures that I own. Like, it is amazing. What a time to be alive.
Really, though.
I wish I was 25 again. My God, for the next
Right.
25 years are going to be so exciting. Like, I
Yeah.
can't imagine. What a time! What a time! Like, we're just
Like,
I
Well-
feel like my gramps. My gramps used to talk about it. I'm like, don't talk about dying, gramps. But then, I started getting older. I realized, yes, death, it's natural. It's gonna happen to all of us. It's the great equalizer, right? But he was such a gadget. I grew up with Gadget Guy. There was always a radio on. There always had to be something playing, something that we were learning. And I remember before he passed, new technology that was coming out. He always wanted the latest gadget. He was always so hot for it. And I'm starting to feel like that too. Oh my gosh, how much is going to be created after we're gone? It's
so exciting. Like, we used to measure everything, every iPhone, every computer we got is all about the megahertz and how big the
Yeah.
and we don't talk about that anymore. We talk about what we can do with it. So right now in NFT land, we talk about what chain and the gas fees, and then ultimately it's just matrix code. We don't care that it exists in the background. We're just doing things with it, and that's what I get.
I want to turn the key and know it's going to start. I don't need to know, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes, and I usually like to know the why or the how. And some of it's just, I didn't go to school to learn that. So code to me is Greek. It's just gobbledygook.
I don't care how cars work. I have never cared how cars work. When I do this, you go, but take me somewhere. Like, I don't care that it's the alternator. I don't even know what that means. So I think the computer stuff, the NFT world, the Web3 world, it just works. Kind of Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
It just works. And then what are you going to do on top of this platform? And the onus is on the
100%.
artist. Yeah.
100%. What is your role in Web3? How can you bring what you do to Web3? Or how do you bring something that a creative side that you sort of hid away for so many years? That's what's happening with us,
I love it. All
Yeah.
right. We can go all
Yeah.
night. I think I have
Yeah.
tacos waiting downstairs. You are incredible human beings. Anything I can do, if there's anybody like on my LinkedIn, anybody you need to meet, or I want to meet, like Jeremy Badauer, yeah.
Yeah.
Uncle Jeremy, holy smokes.
Yeah.
I just want to go to his house. I just want to see
Oh,
his nerd toy cases. That's what I want.
I've threatened to just be in the backyard barbecuing by the pool someday when he comes home.
If there's anything I can do for you, so g3connects.com.
G3 website incoming.
A website.
Website incoming. Yeah, we have a link tree right now, which you can find in our bio. So the best way to find us is on Twitter, Ms.Gekko or Grebflow, and you'll see our links through there.
And if you connect to them, you will see them on Twitter Spaces all day long. It's
Yes,
unbelievable.
yes, you will. Yes, you will.
You are machines.
We've got to get the intel. We've got to get the intel.
Oh my gosh. What a time.
It's so good to see you again. Thank you so much for
Yes.
having us on your show.
Thank you. So appreciate it. And we cannot wait to chat again. And I think we need to schedule a chat with us in 2 weeks' time anyway, just to catch up.
Yeah, I might be. Yes. And even like an in-person, anytime that you cross the state line, you might not want to come to Texas, but if you cross Texas or you make it to Austin, yeah, I'd love to hang out IRL. I'm so impressed with you as humans and digital avatars. And I'm excited to see where you're going.
Awesome. Thank you, Joey. Really, really appreciate this opportunity to chat.
You're amazing. All right, everybody. We will talk next week, next Thursday. Ciao, ciao.